3 days before the plane crash. They're doing the new tour. And this is the one where Steve's out front doing Ain't No Good Life, they're doing I Know a Little, doing I Never Dreamed, all the stuff off the new album, all of it. I drove from Jacksonville, well, north of Jackson, to St. Pete. There's a Coliseum. He didn't know I was coming. And it's me and my wife and another guy in a Volkswagen. And it rained the whole way, and my window on the one side wouldn't roll up. It was kind of, you couldn't even see, it was raining so hard. But anyway, he didn't know I was coming. We pulled up, we're walking towards the Coliseum, a limo pulls up, it's him getting out. He didn't even know I was coming. All right? Wow, that's fate. 3 days before they die. We go in together. We're inside, we're in the tuning room with him, he's getting all ready to go. And that's the first time I really ever met Ronnie Van Zant. You know, I knew the other guys, but Ronnie never came out to hear us or anything. But I met him that night, and he was a nice guy. But, and then they went out and played. Cassie was saying, I don't want to ride on that plane anymore. You know, she took, well, this was after the show. We went to the motel, and that's when she was saying that about the plane. Said it was a piece of shit. But I went out there, and Steve was doing all those songs off Street Survivors. I'm so fortunate to get to see that. You know? That was great. I mean, wow. Of all the shows that, you know, I think the only time I ever saw him was when he auditioned. And the rest of the time I was busy, you know, doing my own thing. But I did get to see that show, which was the best show. You know, it was just so neat to see him out front. You know, because he was always in the back. When he first started the band, when he first joined the band, he was making $300 a week. You know, and not doing very much. Have you ever heard those, they were on the internet, and I had some cassettes of him practicing with those guys. It was just them guitar players learning the songs in like a house somewhere, and it was cool. And I've even heard tapes of Steve doing sound checks, doing Ronnie's songs that Ronnie sang, where Ronnie didn't want to do the sound check, and Steve would go out and sing them. You know, songs that Ronnie sang. Those are out there too. But yeah, I got to see that show, man. And 3 days later they crashed. You know, and I was playing in North Jacksonville with Slowpoke. And my drummer lived with Leon, of course. And it was terrible, man. We learned about it by calling the hospital in Mississippi, lying to them, saying we were Bob Gaines. And we found out that Steve and Cassie had passed. That's how we found out. You know, on a payphone. And then we just stopped. We didn't play another note. We all just went home. Anyway, that's the only show I remember seeing, I think. You know, yeah. They were playing all over the place. I can't, yeah, that's the only one.
We have no way of knowing, but what would you guess? Do you think Steve would have stayed with Skynyrd for a significant amount of time, or do you think, I mean...
Probably would have rode with it as long as he could. They were just starting to really take off again.
I hope he was doing better than $300 a week.
Yeah, he was, but that's what he got to start out with. Yeah, plus per diem. Something to eat, I guess. But, yeah, he was on his way there after that album. You know.
What do you think he'd be doing today?
He'd be right up there with the best, man. You know, Warren Haynes, you know, John Mayer, any of those guys. I mean, he sing like he can, and he knew stuff on the guitar that he never got to show on Lynyrd Skynyrd albums. he knew some stuff. You know.
You mean he was holding back?
Huh?
He was holding back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you just listen to that Crawdad stuff on from Georgia, from Macon. There's some pretty good licks on that one. Nothing's new. I don't know how he plays that lick. I know he finger picked it, but he used to play slide. We were doing Statesboro Blues before I ever heard the Allman Brothers do it. You know, their version. We got it off Taj Mahal. And he met Dwayne and Greg in California when he was out there one time. They were a band called the Hourglass. And he tells stories about meeting those guys out there. Steve could play slide licks like, it'd be like most people play slide. Well, he'd be playing licks with his fingers along with it. It's kind of like Sonny Landreth in a way, you know. He was doing that 30, 40 years ago, you know. Just amazing.
First time I ever heard him do T for Texas with Skynyrd, I thought it sounded a lot like One Way Out by the Allman Brothers.
Yeah.
And I thought he was a Dwayne fan even back then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, can I take you back away? Because I've known you for 40 years or something. I've always wanted to ask you this. So, how from drums to guitar, from being an accomplished drummer, how do you wake up one day and say, man, I'm going to be a guitar player? Tell me.
Well, I always had a guitar, and playing with such good guitar players growing up, I learned a lot. Steve gave me guitar lessons, didn't even know it. You know, I just watched him. You know, I watched what he played in the studio, when he'd play his rhythm parts before he'd go back and do his overdubs. And then when I got with him, I knew what he played on the rhythm on the records that he was doing. And so I tried to, it's kind of like having, you know, the same people playing, because I knew what he played, so I tried to emulate that. But as far as me playing guitar, I got that, I've always had a guitar since I've played drums, and I never really thought I'd ever play guitar in a band, but when he fired me in the bass player, there was nobody I wanted to play drums with. I mean, I played with the best. I didn't want to go backwards, you know. So there was a band, these hippies from New York moved out on, gosh, what is that road going out there? Lone Elm? Is that Lone Elm? Going out towards, you know, north of Joplin, the back way out there. Yeah, they were from New York, but their bass player was from Coffeyville, but everybody else was from New York. And they were called Papaw. And their guitar player quit. And he went back to New York, and I went out there, and I just, you know, I could play lead. They had a rhythm player, and I didn't use a pick back then. I just used my finger and my fingernail, and I got the gig with them, playing guitar. And that's how I started playing. I never played drums again. But it was funny because after our first gig, after playing like a couple hours, my fingernail wore off. So I had to start using the pick. You know, no fingernail, I'm done. I just started using a pick. But I learned a lot about picking from Steve. A lot of guys pick like that. He used his fingers going like that a lot. You know, like that. A lot of guys pick like that. Anyway, I just never. Nowadays, I kind of miss the drums. Every time I get a chance to play, it's fun. Of course, you know, what you don't use, you lose. Like, the biggest thing is my stamina and my foot. Now, I used to play, he had a double stack Marshall, 100 watt. The bass player had 2 bass amps he played through. Marcano had 2 Leslies with his Hammond B3. And we didn't mic the drums back then, back in those days. You know, nobody, unless you played a show or something. So to keep up with a Marshall full stack and all that, I use marching sticks. I mean, they're that big around. And I broke so many cymbals and heads, and I think I'm the only person probably ever to break a Speed King pedal in half. They had metal straps on them, you know, till it goes up to the beater, and those will break, you know, all the time. But the footboard itself in half, no. But I used to beat the shit out of them drums. I mean, I was pretty physical back in them days. You know, pretty good shape. I practiced all the time. I mean, I was an 8-hour-a-day drum practicer. You know, probably more than I, of course. And then when I'd get off the drums, I'd pick up my guitar and play it. But, you know, that's all I ever did was play guitar, sitting around doing nothing. You know, you could sit and watch TV or do anything and have a guitar messing with it. You learn something every time you pick one up. You know, something, whether it's just how to hold it different. But, next question.
How do you think Steve would want to be remembered?
I tell you what, Steve would have been the best father in the whole world. I know he would have. He didn't get the chance to. You know, Karina was, we were playing in Madame Lovejoy's in Kansas City the night she was born. And I just know him, he would have been a great dad. But how would he like to be remembered? He had no ego. It wasn't like he was out for, you know, he wanted to be a, you know, play music and be successful at it, but I don't think he was ever into like being a famous event. He was just so good and so humble, and it wasn't like he had an ego that you know, I'm great or anything like that. He just let his playing do the talking. You know, I don't know how you want to be remembered. Gosh, he just left us way too soon. I think he would have been one of the greatest ever, really. I mean, I just think Clapton's God like everybody else. But Steve was right up there. You know, he's younger than Clapton, but he could play anything Clapton ever did. You know, note for note, if he wanted to, he could pick it out and play it. And he just took his own stuff to another level. But I don't know, man, what he'd be known for. He's going to be known for being a great musician, that's for sure. That just goes without saying. You know, you just ask anybody that ever played with him or knew him. That band he was in, was it Rio Smokehouse? And was it Ohio or something? He went up there and played. I went up and saw them. They were good. He got so much better when he left and went like there and in Detroit. The next time I'd see him, he'd like, good God. You know, how does somebody get that much better in a year or two? You know, it was amazing. I miss him. I miss his inspiration because he always inspired me to want to do something. You know.
How do you want to be remembered?
Oh boy. That's a good one. Oh, I don't know, just, I guess the same thing in a way. I'm just a good person, I hope. You know, it's, you know, a little late for me to try and, you know, think about being famous or anything like that, but kind of, I've had a good life, man. I wouldn't change anything. You know, I had a lot of wasted years, made a lot of mistakes, but I came out of it. You know, that's my only regrets is that, and just the culture I was brought up in anyway, a lot of it. And but it's all good now. I just wish I could play a little more and not have to worry about making a living, like working every day and stuff like that. I like to play more music and have time to do it, you know. But I don't know.
Got to play something before we're done here. What about it? So it's supposed to be over the sessions here. So the song of yours that you play a little bit of it for us, or
on the road?
On the road. Yeah.
No.
Well, can you play part of another one?
I was gonna play.
This one. It's your deal, so we don't want to put you in a couple. So.
Well, actually, when I played
Sunday.
on the road, I played a double neck slide. I didn't do the rhythm part. You know, Gaines played the rhythm part, which Brooks actually wrote the rhythm part, but Gaines took it to another level. I don't know.
Just whatever you want to play. A little bit of Freddie. I mean, anything is.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Freddie recorded in this room, so.